Most people think they are tired because life is heavy. They are wrong. Sometimes you are not tired because you work too much. You are tired because you give too much of your mind to people who never deserve the key to your inner temple. Listen carefully. There is a kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot heal. There is a kind of heaviness that food cannot remove. There is a kind of confusion that does not come from your problems, but from the people who keep pulling your attention away from your path. You wake up with a peaceful heart, and one message destroys your morning. You make one clean decision, and one opinion makes you doubt yourself. You begin to feel strong, and then one person speaks, and suddenly your fire becomes smoke. This is not weakness. This is not stupidity. This is not because you are broken. It is because you have not yet learned how sacred your attention is. Your attention is your life force. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your future is built. If you keep feeding your mind to people who live in chaos, do not be surprised when your inner world becomes noisy. If you keep opening your sacred gate to every emotion, every demand, every insult, and every misunderstanding, do not be surprised when your inner kingdom feels invaded. A mountain does not move because the wind screams. A river does not stop because stones stand in its way. A warrior does not abandon the path because dogs bark from the roadside. But an untrained mind reacts to everything. A weak mind explains itself to everyone. A wounded mind begs for approval from people who cannot even recognize value. And this is how someone secretly drains your life energy. Not always by shouting, not always by attacking, not always by doing something obvious. Sometimes they drain you quietly. Through guilt, through confusion, through false urgency, through emotional pressure, through making you feel responsible for storms you did not create. Today you must learn to see clearly, because what you cannot see, you cannot protect. What you cannot protect, you will lose. And what you lose repeatedly, you will begin to call normal. But your exhaustion is not normal. Your loss of focus is not normal. Your constant need to defend yourself is not normal. Your fear of disappointing people who never respect your peace is not normal. By the end of this, you will understand 7 signs that someone is secretly draining your life energy. And more than that, you will understand how to take your power back. Not with anger, not with revenge, not with noise, but with silence, with discipline, with boundaries, with cleaner decisions, with fewer words, with higher standards. Because when you stop leaking energy, your strength returns. When you stop reacting, your clarity returns. When you stop giving sacred attention to empty places, your life begins to belong to you again. The first sign is this. They disturb your peace, then act as if your reaction is the problem. Look deeply. Some people throw stones into your river, then complain that the water is no longer still. They provoke you with careless words. They twist your intentions. They question your character. They ignore your patience. They keep pushing, pressing, testing, and pulling. Then, when you finally speak with pain in your voice, they say, "Why are you so emotional?" This is one of the oldest ways to steal energy. They create the storm, then blame you for the thunder. A person like this does not want understanding. They want control. They do not want truth. They want a reaction. Because your reaction gives them proof that they still have power over your inner state. Remember this. The one who controls your reaction controls your energy. The one who controls your energy controls your direction. The one who controls your direction controls a part of your life. You may think you are defending yourself, but often you are feeding the very fire that burns you. Stop. Do not give every provocation a seat inside your temple. Do not let every careless word become a command to your nervous system. Do not let someone else's disorder become your daily weather. A trained mind does not obey every emotion. A trained mind sees the spark and does not become the flame. A trained mind knows, I can feel this, but I do not have to become this. This does not mean you accept disrespect. This does not mean you become passive. This does not mean you let people walk over you. Silence is not weakness. Silence is discipline. Sometimes silence says, I see you. Sometimes silence says, I will not enter this battlefield. Sometimes silence says, my peace is more expensive than your drama. The action is simple. Before you respond, breathe once. Before you explain, pause. Before you defend, ask yourself, is this person seeking truth, or are they seeking access to my energy? If they are committed to misunderstanding you, stop explaining. A locked door does not need to argue with the person outside. A sacred gate does not open for every knock. A mountain does not prove its height to those crawling in the dust. Protect your attention. This is not coldness. This is self-respect. The second sign is this. You feel guilty after choosing peace. This is dangerous. When you begin to choose yourself, some people will make your peace look selfish. When you say no, they will call you cruel. When you stop being available, they will call you distant. When you stop carrying their emotions, they will say you have changed. Yes, you have changed. That is the point. A seed must break open to become a tree. A river must leave the mountain to reach the sea. A warrior must stop living for applause before true strength can arise. Many people do not love you. They love your usefulness. They love your availability. They love your silence when they disrespect you. They love your guilt when you try to rest. They love the version of you that has no boundaries. So when you begin to honor your inner kingdom, they feel threatened. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because your healing removes their control. A weak mind feels guilty for having limits. A trained mind understands that boundaries are not cruelty, they are self-respect. You do not owe endless access to people who drain you. You do not owe explanations to people who weaponize your honesty. You do not owe your life force to those who only come to you when they need to empty their chaos into your spirit. There is a brutal truth you must accept. Some people are not upset because you hurt them. They are upset because they can no longer use you in the same way. Do not confuse their discomfort with your wrongdoing. When you close a gate that was never meant to stay open, the ones who benefited from entering freely will protest. Let them. The temple does not apologize for having walls. The flame does not apologize for needing protection from the wind. The roots do not apologize for growing deeper, away from the noise above the ground. The small action is this. When guilt appears after a healthy boundary, do not immediately obey it. Observe it. Ask, is this guilt coming from wisdom or from old conditioning? Is this guilt protecting my values or protecting someone else's comfort? Pain may explain you, but it must not control your future. Maybe in the past, love meant pleasing everyone. Maybe in childhood, safety meant staying quiet. Maybe you learned that your needs created conflict. Maybe you learned to disappear so others could remain comfortable. But now you are not a child. You are the guardian of your life. You are the keeper of your attention. You are the builder of your inner kingdom. Stand at the gate. Say no without hatred. Step back without drama. Choose peace without apology. The third sign is this. They make you explain yourself again and again, but never truly listen. This is how energy drains slowly, not through one big wound, but through 1,000 repeated explanations. You explain your heart, they twist it. You explain your intention, they doubt it. You explain your boundary, they challenge it. You explain your pain, they compare it to theirs. You explain your silence, they make it an insult. And after all of this, you still feel the strange pressure to explain more. Why? Because somewhere inside, you still believe that if you speak perfectly, they will finally understand. If you find the right words, they will finally respect you. If you make your pain clear enough, they will finally stop hurting you. Listen carefully. Some people do not misunderstand you because your words are unclear. They misunderstand you because understanding you would require them to take responsibility. And they do not want responsibility. They want access. They want advantage. They want the comfort of seeing you doubt yourself. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Your words are seeds. Do not throw seeds onto stone and then blame the seed for not becoming a forest. A wise farmer studies the soil. A wise warrior studies the battlefield. A wise person studies who is worthy of receiving their truth. There are people who can hear one sentence and understand your whole heart. And there are people who can hear your soul for years and still pretend they do not know what you mean. Do not waste your sacred language in dead places. This does not mean you become silent with everyone. It means you become precise. It means your words become cleaner. It means you stop using your voice to beg for recognition. A weak mind talks to be accepted. A trained mind speaks when it is necessary. A weak mind repeats itself to force understanding. A trained mind knows when silence is the final answer. Your life changes when your decisions become cleaner, your words fewer, and your standards higher. The small action is this. Say it once clearly. Say it calmly. Say it without attacking. Then watch what they do. If they respect it, continue. If they mock it, reduce access. If they twist it, step back. If they use your explanation against you, stop feeding them words. The sacred gate is not opened by force. It opens only for respect. You do not need to convince everyone that you are good. You do not need to prove your pain to people who enjoy questioning it. You do not need to defend your character in a court where the judge has already decided the sentence. Return to your breath. Return to your path. Return to your work. The mountain does not argue with the fog. It waits. The fog passes. The mountain remains. The fourth sign is this. After being with them, your focus becomes weak. This is one of the clearest signs. Before you speak with them, your mind has direction. You know what you must do. You feel connected to your discipline. You have a plan. You have energy. You have a small fire burning inside. Then you interact with them. Suddenly your mind is scattered. You cannot focus. You check your phone. You replay the conversation. You feel heavy. You feel irritated. You feel as if your inner river has been filled with mud. This is not imagination. Some people carry disorder in their words. Some people enter your life like smoke. They do not break things loudly. They make everything unclear. They make your next step feel far away. They make your simple discipline feel impossible. Energy is not only lost through conflict. Energy is lost through confusion. A confused mind cannot build. A distracted mind cannot heal. A scattered mind cannot hear the voice of wisdom. Protect your attention. Your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. More valuable than money. More valuable than praise. More valuable than being liked. Because with attention, you build skill. With attention, you build peace. With attention, you build a future. Without attention, you become a leaf in someone else's storm. Do not give your morning to chaos. Do not give your night to arguments. Do not give your sacred hours to people who pull your mind into circles. A trained mind knows when to close the gate. There is a reason monks rise early. There is a reason warriors sharpen their weapons before battle. There is a reason roots grow in silence. Power requires protected space. If every day begins with messages, noise, opinions, complaints, and emotional demands, your mind never becomes a temple. It becomes a marketplace. Everyone enters. Everyone shouts. Everyone leaves their dust behind. You must clean the temple. The small action is this. Create a protected hour. 1 hour where no one enters your attention. No messages, no arguments, no social noise, no emotional negotiation. Breathe, move, read, train. Work on one thing that strengthens your future. Do this before you give yourself to the world. Because if you do not own the first gate of your day, someone else will. When you protect your attention, you protect your destiny. When you protect your focus, you protect your strength. When you protect your silence, you protect the part of you that still knows the way. The fifth sign is this. They need your energy, but they do not respect your life. Look closely. They come to you when they are broken. They call you when they are lonely. They lean on you when they are confused. They want your wisdom, your patience, your presence, your listening, your softness, your strength. But when you need peace, they disappear. When you set a boundary, they resist. When you succeed, they become quiet. When you are happy, they change the subject. When you are tired, they still demand more. This is not connection. This is extraction. Some people do not walk beside you. They plug themselves into you. They take your warmth but never protect your fire. They drink from your river but never ask if the river is drying. They sit in your temple but leave no offering of respect. You must see this clearly. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. Kindness without wisdom becomes a doorway for manipulation. Love without self-respect becomes a slow destruction of the soul. Do not be proud of being drained. Do not call exhaustion loyalty. Do not call self-betrayal love. A weak mind gives to be needed. A trained mind gives from fullness. A weak mind fears losing people. A trained mind fears losing itself. This is the turning point. You must stop measuring your goodness by how much pain you can endure for others. You are not here to be someone's emotional storage room. You are not here to be a river where everyone washes their wounds while throwing mud into the water. You are not here to be the fire that warms everyone while you disappear into ash. Your life is sacred too. The small action is this. Before giving, ask, am I giving from strength or from fear? Am I helping or am I trying to be approved? Am I serving love or am I avoiding guilt? If the answer is fear, pause. If the answer is guilt, pause. If the answer is the hope that they will finally value you, pause. Do not chase approval from people who cannot recognize value. A diamond does not become worthless because a blind man calls it a stone. The sun does not become weak because someone closes their eyes. Your worth does not decrease because someone benefits from ignoring it. Give less to those who take without reverence. Give more to the path that strengthens you. Give more to the discipline that returns you to yourself. Give more to the relationships where peace is not punished and boundaries are not treated like betrayal. The sixth sign is this. They keep pulling you back into the version of yourself you are trying to outgrow. This sign is subtle. You are changing. You are becoming more disciplined. You are speaking less. You are choosing better. You are waking up earlier. You are training your mind. You are healing old wounds. You are no longer reacting like before. And then someone appears with the old pattern. They remind you of your past. They provoke your old anger. They call you by old names. They laugh at your growth. They say, "You think you are better now?" They try to pull you back into the cage because your freedom makes them uncomfortable. Understand this. When a person is used to your wounds, your healing feels like rejection. When a person benefited from your weakness, your strength feels like disrespect. When a person controlled you through guilt, your peace feels like rebellion. But you are not here to remain familiar to those who prefer you broken. You are allowed to grow beyond the environment that shaped your pain. You are allowed to become a person your past cannot recognize. You are allowed to become quiet, strong, focused, and difficult to manipulate. Pain may explain you, but it must not control your future. Do not carry your childhood into every decision. Do not let betrayal become your personality. Do not let disappointment become your excuse. Do not let old wounds choose your standards. The past is a teacher, not a master. A warrior studies the scar, but does not worship it. A tree remembers the storm, but still grows toward the sun. A river carries stones, but does not become stone. Real strength is quiet, repetitive, and invisible before it becomes visible. It is in the decision not to reply with anger. It is in the breath before reaction. It is in the boundary no one applauds. It is in the morning discipline when no one is watching. It is in the refusal to return to old habits simply because old people are calling. The small action is this. Choose one old pattern you will not feed anymore. 1, not 10. 1. Maybe you stop arguing late at night. Maybe you stop checking the message that ruins your peace. Maybe you stop explaining your boundaries. Maybe you stop saying yes when your body says no. Maybe you stop abandoning your routine because someone demands your attention. One clean decision repeated becomes a new life. Not because the world changes immediately, but because you change the place from which you meet the world. This is how the inner kingdom is rebuilt, stone by stone, breath by breath, choice by choice. The seventh sign is this. You become smaller around them. This is the deepest sign. Around certain people, you speak less not from peace, but from fear. You hide your joy. You reduce your dreams. You soften your truth. You apologize for your needs. You make your light smaller so they do not feel uncomfortable in their darkness. You begin to edit your soul. This is a serious loss of energy, because your life force is not only in your body, it is in your expression, it is in your truth, it is in your standards, it is in the way you stand inside your own existence without asking permission. When someone drains your life energy, you often do not notice it at first. You only notice that you are less alive, less clear, less bold, less disciplined, less connected to your own fire. You laugh less, you dream less, you trust yourself less, you delay your growth, you wait for permission from people who do not even know where they are going. Stop. Do not shrink to keep people close. Do not make your life smaller to protect someone else's insecurity. Do not bury your fire because others are afraid of light. A weak mind asks, will they approve? A trained mind asks, is this aligned with the person I am becoming? This question will save your life. Is this aligned with the person you are becoming? The conversation, the habit, the relationship, the room, the job, the friendship, the way you speak to yourself, the way you spend your morning, the way you answer disrespect, the way you use your energy. Is it aligned? If not, stop calling it loyalty. Stop calling it patience. Stop calling it being nice. Sometimes it is fear, wearing the mask of kindness. Sometimes it is low self-worth, wearing the mask of humility. Sometimes it is self-abandonment, wearing the mask of love. You must return to yourself. Not loudly, not dramatically, not with revenge. Return like the sun returns, quietly, consistently, without asking the darkness for permission. The small action is this. When you are around someone, observe your body. Does your breath become tight? Does your voice become smaller? Does your mind become confused? Do you feel the need to perform, defend, please, or disappear? Your body often knows before your pride admits it. Listen, the body is the bell of the temple. When something is wrong, it rings. Do not ignore the bell. Do not silence the bell just because you fear what it reveals. If someone repeatedly makes you abandon yourself, distance is wisdom. If someone repeatedly makes peace feel impossible, distance is medicine. If someone repeatedly makes you smaller, distance is discipline. Now understand the deeper truth behind all 7 signs. People drain your life energy when they gain access to parts of you they have not earned. Your attention, your reaction, your explanation, your guilt, your time, your emotional labor, your forgiveness, your silence, your body, your dreams, your future. Access must be earned. This does not make you cruel. It makes you awake. A temple with no gate becomes a ruin. A kingdom with no border becomes invaded. A fire with no protection becomes extinguished. A mind with no discipline becomes a servant to every passing emotion. You must become the guardian. Not a guard full of hatred. Not a wall full of bitterness. Not a heart frozen by pain. A guardian with wisdom. A guardian with calm eyes. A guardian who knows what enters and what must remain outside. This is maturity. Maturity is not reacting to every insult. Maturity is not explaining every silence. Maturity is not giving everyone equal access. Maturity is knowing that peace must be protected, or it will be stolen by those who do not even know they are stealing it. Some people are not evil. They are unconscious. They live in storms and call it normal. They live in noise and call it connection. They live by impulse and call it honesty. They spill their disorder into every room and wonder why others become tired. You do not need to hate them, but you must not become them. Compassion does not require self-destruction. Forgiveness does not require continued access. Understanding someone's pain does not mean handing them the knife again. This is where many good people fail. They understand too much. They excuse too much. They wait too long. They hope too deeply. They keep saying maybe they did not mean it. Maybe, but the effect is still real. A person may not intend to poison the river, but if they keep pouring poison into it, the river must be protected. Stop arguing with the poison. Stop explaining to the poison. Stop asking the poison to become water. Move upstream. Choose cleaner places. Choose stronger habits. Choose fewer words. Choose people who do not require you to abandon your nervous system in order to love them. This is not escape. This is discipline. A disciplined person knows where to stand. A disciplined person knows what to refuse. A disciplined person knows when silence is the sword. A disciplined person knows that not every battle deserves the blood of attention. You have been giving your energy away in small pieces. One unnecessary reply, one late-night argument, one repeated explanation, one yes that should have been no, 1 hour lost to someone's drama, 1 day spent recovering from a conversation that never should have entered your temple. Small leaks sink great ships. Do not underestimate the power of a small leak. A life does not fall apart only through great disaster. Often it falls apart through repeated permission given to what weakens the soul. You permit the interruption. You permit the disrespect. You permit the confusion. You permit the guilt. You permit the old pattern. You permit the emotional invasion. Then one day, you look at yourself and wonder, where did my strength go? It did not disappear. It was distributed to people, and to arguments, to memories, to fears, to screens, to approval, to those who took your attention but gave no peace in return. Now gather it back. Gather it back from the people who misunderstood you on purpose. Gather it back from the conversations that go nowhere. Gather it back from the past that keeps asking for your future. Gather it back from the need to be liked. Gather it back from the need to be seen by those who are blind to your value. Gather it back from every place where your spirit has been waiting for permission. Sit with your breath. Inhale, return, exhale, release. You do not need to become loud. You do not need to become hard. You do not need to become cruel. You need to become clear. Clear with your time. Clear with your words. Clear with your standards. Clear with your yes. Clear with your no. Clear with the life you are building. The cleaner your decisions become, the stronger your energy becomes. When you stop debating with chaos, peace returns. When you stop chasing approval, dignity returns. When you stop explaining your worth, power returns. When you stop reacting to every storm, the mountain inside you returns. And when the mountain returns, people will notice. They will say you changed. Let them. They will say you are colder. Let them. They will say you think you are better. Let them. They will test the old doors. Do not open them. They will pull the old strings. Do not move. They will look for the old version of you. Do not resurrect it for their comfort. You are not here to be the same. You are here to awaken. Awakening is not always light and beauty. Sometimes awakening is the painful recognition that you have been too available, too reactive, too apologetic, too hungry for approval, too afraid to disappoint, too willing to betray yourself for temporary peace. But temporary peace is not true peace. Peace that requires self-abandonment is not peace. It is a prison with soft walls. Break the walls, not with rage, with discipline. Wake up and guard the first hour of your day. Speak less when people try to provoke your wound. Say no before resentment grows. Let silence answer what words cannot fix. Choose the habit that strengthens you, even when no one praises it. Walk away from the conversation that makes you smaller. Return to the task that builds your future. Train your body, train your breath, train your mind. A trained mind does not obey every emotion. A trained mind does not kneel before every opinion. A trained mind does not sacrifice the whole kingdom for one visitor at the gate. You are the kingdom. Remember that. Your attention is the throne. Your discipline is the wall. Your breath is the bell. Your standards are the gate. Your silence is the sword. Your self-respect is the law. Do not hand the throne to someone who cannot even govern their own mind. This is how you stop being drained. You stop confusing access with love. You stop confusing guilt with duty. You stop confusing reaction with strength. You stop confusing explanation with healing. You stop confusing being needed with being valued. You begin again, quietly. You become harder to disturb, not because you feel nothing, but because you no longer let every feeling command you. You become harder to manipulate, not because you trust no one, but because you trust yourself more. You become harder to drain, not because you stop caring, but because you finally learn that your care must include you. This is the path. It is not dramatic. It is not glamorous. It is not always visible. Real strength is quiet, repetitive, and invisible before it becomes visible. It is in the small choice made again and again, the breath before the reply, the no spoken without apology, the phone left untouched, the boundary kept, the old pattern refused, the morning protected, the silence honored, the body trained, the mind returned, the soul remembered. One day, people will see the result, but they will not see the thousands of invisible moments that built it. They will see your calm, but not the nights you chose not to collapse. They will see your confidence, but not the mornings you fought your own mind. They will see your boundaries, but not the guilt you had to overcome to keep them. They will see your peace, but not the discipline it cost. Let them see only the mountain. You know the roots. Now, return to yourself. Return to the breath you abandoned while chasing approval. Return to the silence you feared because others misunderstood it. Return to the discipline that makes your future possible. Return to the standards that protect your sacred gate. Return to the person you are becoming. You do not need revenge. You do not need to be louder. You do not need to prove yourself to every person who questioned your worth. You do not need to win every argument. You do not need to explain your soul to those who only listen for weakness. You need to come home. Come home to your attention. Come home to your body. Come home to your morning. Come home to your inner fire. Come home to the quiet warrior inside you who has been waiting beneath all the noise. Let others keep their storms. You keep your mountain. Let others chase control. You choose discipline. Let others misunderstand. You remain rooted. Let others drain themselves in endless drama. You protect your life force. Because from this moment, your energy is no longer public property. Your peace is no longer open to every visitor. Your mind is no longer a marketplace. Your heart is no longer a battlefield for people who do not know how to love without control. You are returning to the temple, and at the gate you stand quietly, breathing, awake, unmoved. Not because life has become easy, but because you have become trained. Not because people have stopped testing you, but because you have stopped abandoning yourself. Not because the storm has disappeared, but because the mountain inside you has finally remembered its own height.